Hi, this is Coach Rudy, and I have had to recently renew my license for nursing, and something came to mind. Take PTSD. So I did. I'm taking this as a course to see what's what. And I know I had a mild form of it because in the past I have been abused in a sexual and physical way. So it affected me, and she did so many things. And she tried to also mentally abuse me by telling me bad things. That wasn't true. However, I did survive it, but I did have some remnants from that, as in PTSD, and I didn't know that was, at first it was that, until I realized, wow, it's like with reoccurrent things that you can see happening and all these things, it's possible that is what's occurring. So I was led to actually take this to see if I could learn more about PTSD as well as get my CEUs from it. Well, I was right. After having read the beginning of it, I'm like, because we have to take a test in it, I am like in the middle of the test. But I will read a little bit about it. It's a severe or potential chronic disabling disorder that develops in some people following a traumatic event. Sometimes it could be threatened death, serious injury, sexual assault. And you thought it could only happen, you thought this could happen only with people that was in the military. No, it happens with everyday people. It's common even in caregivers that talk to people that have had that. They develop symptoms, which I did not know that. But they would call it like hypochondriac, but I did not. I mean, I had firsthand. And so starting with this, I had to go and get my inhaler after reading so much of this because I had to take a test of it. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm just overloaded. So I taking like 2 and 3 breaks at a time. Yes, my photo is covered right now at this time. Is because people were chiming in from Skype and really bugging me, and then you could see that in the camera. Okay, so it's I had just a person coming in, my mate, and there's family in the background crying in the background because I told them I'm gonna do a video and I don't need all that noise. Now, there's some symptoms of intrusive thoughts, nightmares, flashbacks of events, avoidance of trauma, hypervigilance, sleep disturbances. Now, the hypervigilance, I found that I had that, and I decided to look up what's hypervigilance. So when I looked it up, it says it is an enhanced state of sensory sensitivity accompanying an exaggerated intensity of behaviors whose purpose is to detect threats. In other words, if you're seeing there's a perceived threat somewhere that could happen or whatever, you're like super sensitive to like, oh, let me protect that person. That's what that means. I was like OMG, I can't believe I actually suffer from that. And the anxiety it follows it. Wow, I hate that part that you could even have as such a thing, but it is what it is, and it explains a lot about what's going on. And I'm like, wow, this explains a lot. However, you can still help people but not know that stuff that you have going on within you can leak out when you're still helping others. Which is, it happens a lot of times and people don't realize unless the person just like act like I'm super stuck up, and it's just not gonna affect me or anybody around me. But it does, and no matter how you're trying to cover it up, it comes out a little bit here and there. What I saw that also the trauma can last for a while, and I was like, yeah, that's true. And then, after being exposed to that trauma, then I found also that these things can happen, if it's not treated or whatever, can get worse. It's like, wow. And sometimes you can find mild to severe. So I was like, okay. I remember when growing up, and my my perpetrator, who was my mom at that time, or is that mom at this time, was the one who took me to the psychiatrist and they said something about, oh, she cannot be helped. Really? So I was like thinking to myself, maybe they just didn't want to help her because she was on low income. So there are different reasons for everything. So, however, there's historical things about how this comes about, how it happened, World War this and that, and they have that traumatic stuff that they found out in like 1980. They decided to actually form a diagnosis from the American Psychiatric Association uh, and give it and put it somewhere under the manual disorders. So I was like, wow. So I also read about it, and it was like it's no it was prompted with revisions, but they were saying that it was no longer an anxiety disorder and instead placed in a new trauma specific category. So trauma events including actual and threat of death, serious injury, sexual assault. That's right, rape victims can have it. People who have been molested in the past, who've been from any, even members outside the family as well as inside the family. Fear, helplessness, horror, and let's see, symptoms of re-experiencing avoidance, negative cognitive and mood arousals, and the duration requirements like 1 month instead of 3 months. And disassociation, PTSD subtype has been added. So I was like, how could someone just like disguise themselves to not really it be affected, them, or they wouldn't know it's affected. Now, when I was reading about something about mild, they have like where they can be mild. It was, I have it on this, like, I was taking notes. Mild is like, okay, mild was like, it would be as low as something you would have amnesia, or you could like put it in the back of your mind that this didn't happen, or you don't want to think about it, because I regress and stuff all the time. So, but I am very sensitive to all kind of stuff going on. So, and I deal with people all the time with their nonsense, as you can hear in the background, craziness. So anyway, but here it is. Result of amnesia and absence of trauma memory. Okay, there's a lot to this PTSD, so this is only going to be part 1. There might be like more than one in here, like 2, 3, or 4. This thing had like 40 questions, so there's like to an extent that I can go into. But right now, as you can hear in the background, it's affecting me. I'm aggravated and agitated with the nonsense in the background. So I'm not going to be able to give a specific, actual great presentation at this time. I've been interrupted several times. So I'm going to have to do this part 2 later. But I'm going to finish this one and let you know, hey, it happens to people. It happens to children. It happens to pregnant people. It happens in domestic violence. It happens in all type of violent situations. It can regress and turn into anything and everything. So I had to just take the domestic violence one, the CEU, continuing education, just recently, so I could speak about the domestic violence and the children violence and all that, which is with the mental and the physical and spiritual and all that, because they do those type of abuses. It's a lot of abuse going on, so it affects people in so many ways, and internal and external. And I even got my asthma medicine right here, and I normally don't have to worry about asthma, and it's unless it's something so emotional to the point where I just can't handle it, or my body just takes over and say, hey, you need something that's going to release this toxin out your body. So this is the end of this video, and I will talk to you guys later. It's an informative 10-minute video. Here we go. Someone off this Skype thing. Have a great day. Thanks. Bye.